forward, you'll see it happen, and it's recording. So we can start whenever you're ready.
Where's
Uh,
this look? Is it like in the camera or at the little U in the screen?
I would recommend looking in the camera. Then you look like you're actually like looking at the viewers. Yeah. I appreciate you like reaching out and wanting to talk about this subject because this is something I've been like so hype about since you started bringing attention to this whole situation and this whole statue. Um, and it was really interesting that we've spoken in the past about just like being Black in Boston, and then how we are now like having to want and show our representation in different ways.
Yeah.
And what I'm talking about, folks, is the Freedman Memorial located in City Park Square. And I believe you introduced me to this sculpture, this statue, this memorial. I had no idea it was here.
I have my first question. How is that possible that you've been in Boston as long as you have, but you've never seen this? Because you are not in the minority. There are a lot of other people like you.
Yeah, I don't even know what park this is. Like, I'm like, why do I never walk past this? How have I never seen it? What do you remember the first time you saw it? Why do you know about it?
So I know about it because back in the day, my family brought me down there to go check out Maggiano's for one of my birthdays. So it's right in between not Margiano's and Legal Seafood, two of the most ideal spots to have, race conversations. So I remember being a kid and walking down there and just being like, I've told this story like 100 times, but it's so real and regular and weird that I was just down there and I was just like, oh, there's a statue. Okay, it's a really tall dude, and there's a dude on his knees and he looks just like me. What's up with the statue? And there was nobody to talk to about that at the age I was at the time. It was just an image that I remember being seared into my mind. And then as I got older, it just became kind of the end joke with my friends, at least, where it was just like, yo, you know that really messed up statue downtown? Like, yeah, I know that messed up statue downtown. And then it just snowballed into what became the Remove This Statue project.
Mm-hmm. So obviously this came with like great timing for the movement. A lot of folks are wanting to tear down these statues that are in these memorials that don't properly represent us as Black folks or are memorializing slave owners and terrible white people. But in this case, it is a depiction of Abraham Lincoln. And for a lot of white folks, they love to associate that white man as like the symbolism of anti-racism for white folks. They're like, nah, he freed the slaves, like chill, like he's good, he's one of us, we're cool with him. Like, so what kind of pushback were you getting from white Bostonians as you started to bring this up? Because I can only imagine how annoying they must have been with their all lives matter, don't see color bullshit.
I mean, it was crazy. It was so crazy because it really gave me a firsthand lesson that you can say something and be really clear about what you're saying and have a clear intent about what you're trying to say. But then once it enters a public forum, people are able to take it and warp it into whatever they want it to be about. Mm-hmm. So I came out with this video just being like, yo, I don't like this statue. Keep the cat there, man. Keep the cat there, man. Legendary, like, come on, be like right there. I know I can't do anything with the tail, but but I'm sitting there. But it was crazy for me because I'm like, what was I saying? White people. Oh yeah. So it was crazy to me because so many people like warped what I was actually trying to say. What I was saying was very clear in the video. I was like, yo, when I was a kid, I didn't like the statue, and I want to make sure that no kid has to have that feeling again. It's a weird statue. Let's take it down. And then it got turned into, you hate America, you hate Abraham Lincoln, you don't like freedom. And then I end up on all these like right-wing Republican shows, like debating these hosts and just talking to them, like debate, like fighting for freedom, I guess. And it was just a whole weird thing. So I guess the pushback I've gotten is just you don't understand freedom, you don't understand America, you don't understand Lincoln and what he did for your people. why are you so ungrateful? Essentially.
And that's like the response I kind of assumed you were getting. And I mean, like, it's the kind of rhetoric this podcast gets when people are like, why don't you talk about white artists? Like, what the fuck? Because that's not the point. But like, um, also, I have like another question similar to that. Did you get any black folks that were like vocally against you, or black folks that were kind of pushing this, or black folks that believe that Abraham Lincoln is a symbol of our freedom?
Absolutely. I got pushback from every single side. Kind of more aggressive, no, more surprising pushback from Black people, honestly, because a lot of the people were just talking down to me in a way of like, yeah, you don't understand the history though. You don't understand that Black people put money towards the statue. You don't understand what history is. You're just one of these kids with a backwards hat who's gonna come in here and tell me about that. I'm like, dude, like I made a pretty clear video going through exact details, exact facts, why I feel the way I feel, but they just kind of chalked it up to you don't know history and you don't understand what this is really about. So the pushback that I got from a lot of my Black brothers and sisters was just very, you don't know what you're talking about. Stop trying to use this opportunity to kind of fight for Black Lives Matter or whatever, when that's kind of not really, I don't know, what I was trying to do originally with it. Because another thing is that this wasn't something that just happened. I didn't just make this up in the last week and I was like, oh, I want to take down a statue. This is something that's been with me since I was a kid. Like I've been damn near traumatized by this damn statue with so many other Bostonians, and it's always been on my mind. And when I started making these videos, I just kind of keep a revolving list of like what's something I would like to talk about. And this is something I've been wanting to talk about for years, but never. It just never felt right. It never felt like it was the time. And then this all happened. I was like, yo, if we do this right now the right way, we can actually affect some kind of change.
You did. Just to like go a little bit back to when you mentioned that yes, there were free black folks that actually did help
Yeah.
pay for this monument, this memorial to be made. However, they had no artistic say in this piece. So it's just kind of ridiculous to me to even mention that black folks are paying for something that they have no say in. Very similar to what? Taxes in this country. Like,
Really, like it's so funny that you say that because I felt the same way before I even knew the history of the statue. I'm just going through as a Black artist now what that experience must have been like for people before. I didn't look at any of the books. I didn't look at any of the facts before. I just assumed that okay, so they gave their money to this back in the 1800s. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that this group of Black people who gave their money to white people in 1800s probably didn't have the most say in what the outcome of it was going to be.
mm-hmm,
And to make that assumption and then to actually do my research and be like, oh no, that's exactly what happened. It just validated the point again that this wasn't some disrespectful act. This was something that actually I think in tribute to my ancestors, the people who actually like gave money to this.
right. Um, so you kind of mentioned with all the media coverage that you've been getting, your part in the removal of the statue. You talked to a lot of like white folks about the importance of this as a form of representation of us. And like, what was the most frustrating aspect of those interviews that you actually had to like? Did you ever feel yourself like holding back from what you wanted to say in those spaces? Did you ever feel like you had to like compose yourself as a certain way, being a black man and wanting to really get your case across and still wanting folks to respect you in a certain way or see you in a certain light? Did you feel, what was those like most cringing parts for you?
I mean, the most cringing part or the most cringy part of every interview that I kind of did for White Boston was that a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them started with the host saying to their audience, now remember, he's a neighbor, like he's somebody who lives here, he's one of us now, he's a Bostonian. And it's just kind of like, oh, this is your call to say all my racist people out there that are probably going to be super racist and are super racist on this program every other night. Tonight we have somebody live who's going to come in, so don't embarrass us in front of company. And it just always had this tone of like, okay, like I guess I'm going to defend myself.
Mhm.
And it always just, I don't know, it just always held this tone of, why are you doing this? Like, why do you hate freedom and why are you taking the statue down? As opposed to, why is the statue still up? Which
Mhm.
is a perspective that I have with a lot of, people who look like me.
Right.
So it was just, I don't know, man, it was just hard. It's hard. I don't know how many people out there have ever had to have a point, but then go through a gauntlet of having people who hate your point and don't like you very much, and you have to kind of talk to them for like 30 minutes or so, and kind of go through 10 of them, and have in at the same time try to find some kind of common ground. That's also something that was very interesting about this experience, is talking to people who don't like me, who don't agree with what I'm trying to do, but at the same time agree that that statue is pretty messed up and that it should probably be taken down. Um, in terms of how I had to handle myself as a black man, we all know how I had to handle myself as a black man in
Mhm.
these spaces. It was talk how you need. It was just don't be black. Like, it was just like, don't be too black. I mean, for me, and honestly, with what I even chose to wear on these shows, was something I put a lot of thought into, because I was going to have to be, articulate guy who's not really cracking any jokes or whatever, because I want to represent this movement well.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we are kind of very used to people who look a certain way, talking a certain way. And by that I mean, like, if I'm wearing a polo shirt and a haircut and my hair's all cool and everything's fine, white people are very used to seeing those people be articulate. People who like me are the people who are being thrown down the street and thinking people are going to rob them, whatever. So I take it as a point of pride to kind of wear a do-rag and put a hat on and be like, you guys should probably get used to people like us having points and being artists too. Um, so yeah,
Being articulate. You don't have to comment on us being articulate. We know. We can be too. um, on like a brighter side, like if they replace this memorial, who would you like to be memorialized in its place?
oh man, that's the thing. I don't even know if I want a person to be memorialized as much as I want some kind of cool, like, abstract interpretation of freedom or equality, or what the Emancipation Memorial was supposed to be, or supposed to represent. I think one of the problems with people is that in 100 years we may not like those people very much, and we may be like, nah, let's get rid of these people. But with a piece of like true blue, like, artwork that's there to be like interpreted and decoded and all that stuff, I feel like that can have a much longer shelf life. Now, what is that of? I don't know, homie, but
Mm-hmm.
something cool.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk to some like really cool, like conceptual outside sculpture artists that are making beautiful stuff using the lands. We might use like lots of plants could be involved. It's outside. It could be really beautiful. Like,
You trying to be on that committee? You trying to be on that
yeah, I'm
committee?
just trying to like throw out ideas for people. Like, just, we could do that.
Yeah. I also,
um,
whatever comes and gets put there, I hope it does have the touch of people of color, because so many times it's everywhere, but at least for me in Boston, it just feels like there's this, like, only a certain number of black and brown people are allowed to touch something. Like, you'll have like one person on a committee or two people on a committee. And it's like, this is something that probably needs a certain perspective, or to really I don't know, to really make people feel something. So I hope whatever they come up with is something that includes, I don't know, the people that it's supposed to represent.
so lastly,
We
not
already
only
at Lastly.
lastly, but I
Okay.
mean, we can keep going. We can keep going. This is my last question. If you got more to say, you can keep going. But I guess it's a two-parter because this is half your question and half my question.
Okay.
So, one, why did you do this in the first place? And now, how do you feel knowing that your goal to take the statue down has now been accomplished? What's next for what's next for you and how you see the city changing and evolving and reflecting us better.
I did this because I could do it. That's I feel bad because I submitted that question like, yo,
Yeah.
ask me a question about what I did. Now I'm here like because I could. Like it it snowballed. It was so organic. It was it just showed me once again that like I just made a video. Like this started from a video. And it wasn't just something of a petition that got put up and it just went viral. Like it kind of rode the back of a video that kind of gave it some energy. And I feel like I don't know. I did it because I could, and I feel like a lot of people can as well. Which leads me to my next thing of like, what can other or the question you had of like, what's next? What's next is everybody else. Like, for me, I don't want this to become a situation where a lot of the interviews I've been doing, people have been coming to me and being like, "AOT, so you the monument assassin now, homie. Like, what's next? Where we going, fam?
What's the
Oh,
next
y'all
one we taking
like,
down?
let's take them all down." And I'm like, that's cool, but I do have a career. Like, I do have a whole. This is a part of my timeline. This is a part of the bigger picture of what I do. So my thing of what's next is for everybody to think for a moment, like, what's your one issue that you have a problem with in this city, in this world? What's a way that you can use your voice and make some noise about it? Because you may get a couple of thousand people ready to support you and make that change and do it rather quickly. Because once again, this thing was super fast, like 3 weeks. This was story time out here.
Mhm. I mean, you say a couple, but it was more like a dozen.
I, oh, yo, we got
Thousand
the
folks.
I got you. I'm trying to set attainable goals out here for people, all right? A couple. You don't need a dozen all.
Thank you so much, Tori, for talking to me about this. Can you last tell everyone where they can find you, where they can follow you, what's next for your work, anything like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, go on Facebook. I'm all over Facebook right now. And just type in Tory Bullock. I'm the guy. There's only one black Tory Bullock out there, so I'll pop up. Follow me. You can follow me on Instagram at Tory Shiloh. Anywhere you follow me, it's all kind of flowing together. And I can guarantee you, like, there are people who just started following me, and it's so cool because they get quoted in a New York Times article because they commented on a status, and now they get to rep like, oh, I'm in a New York Times article because of blah blah blah. So I say all that to say, like, if you join up or if you follow me, like, you never know what you're gonna get the opportunity to be a part of. So do it.
So, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer. I guess we're gonna call this a summer.
Girl, we ain't calling this no slum out here. This is the end times out here. This is a long of just where we go.
I hope you enjoy your hot time. It's just hot time. Yeah.
I will. And thank you for being a platform, because I did reach out because it's really another thing to say to Black Boston and young artists out there is that we need a lot of artists and we need a lot of people like doing a particular type of work, but we also need people creating platforms for us. We need people creating ways for kind of the people out here doing these loud things to talk about why they do them. So much of my experience in this little project has been so honestly just so white. And I love my white brothers and sisters, but having to kind of constantly defend myself to them and not really have a home to kind of come and talk and just kick it and be like, yo, like, this is the dope stuff that we're doing and this is how we feel about it without having to defend all the time is really refreshing. So if you're an artist out there, we need platforms too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so shout out to all the platform makers and journalists out there making sure that our stories are told. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem. Appreciate you too, girl. Thank you.
Of course.